Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm your host D-Day, bringing you more of my Tinker's Construct mod spotlight, specifically for Minecraft 1.18. This tutorial I'm going to be using the mod pack All the Mods 7. What I'm going to be going over today is how to mine Cobalt so that we can get our own blaze farm going on with the Tinker's Construct smeltery. So the first thing that we need, of course, is a pickaxe that can mine nether cobalt ore, which cobalt ore is only going to spawn inside the nether. It'll be these blue blocks. The reason why they're so conveniently placed is because of silk touch. So let me go ahead and pick these guys back up. There we go. We have 8 pieces of nether cobalt ore, and we can head back to the smeltery and we can smelt these guys down. Alright, so there we go. We have some molten cobalt going on. The smeltery is still casting out all of the slime steel as repair kits for our new tools. So let me cast all of these guys out in ingot form as well and clear the entire tank out so that we can work on our blaze farm together. Alright, and now that we have cast out everything but the remnants of the cobalt and 1 bar of molten gold, let's go ahead and grab a little bit of our cobalt so that we can make a new item, which is the seared duct. As you can see right there, it says filtered smeltery fluid input and output. So we're going to use this guy to automate the smeltery. Let's see, we are going to need seared bricks for these guys. So let's go ahead and see. Do we have any seared bricks? There we go. We had some seared bricks inside one of our furnace. We can use this guy. And let's go ahead and make ourselves 1 of these seared ducts. We only need 1. We're also going to need seared channel, which is different from the faucet. This guy makes 5. We only need 1 of these guys. Let's also pick up 1 of our faucets. There we go. Alright, and the next step we need to do is we need to go to the Nether Fortress and we have to figure out how we can pick up one of these blaze spawners. So let's go ahead and use our silk touch hammer and pick up the spawner for blaze. There we go. We got the spawner for blaze, since apotheosis is in this pack as well. At the very end of the episode, I'll show you guys what we can do if there are no ways to move spawners in your pack. Okay, so we're back from the nether. We've picked up the blaze spawner. We have our seared duct, our seared channel, 1 seared faucet, and I went ahead and I turned our Minecraft lever into a 2-button machine switch to make it look cool. So let's head around the back real quick and I can show you guys how to upgrade the smeltery into a blaze farm that will auto power the unit itself. So as you can see, I moved everything back some. And what's great is as long as you don't move the smeltery controller, if you break anything, it will retain all of the fluid that's inside. So let's see, we have seared glass. We can use this as a placeholder real quick. The reason why I made this thing bigger is because the blazes, they spawn, I believe, in a 2x2 around the blaze spawner. So if the smeltery is too small, the blazes will sometimes spawn outside of the smeltery, which is bad news bears. So 2 from each wall. This side is 3 because it's a little bit wider. And we're going to go 2 up from the bottom so that they can spawn under the spawner as well. We'll do this. And of course, we have to get rid of these 2 blocks. And now when we put this back in place, it should be fully formed and it gives us our fluids back. So there we go, we have our blaze spawner inside the unit. There's 1 extra thing that needs to be done. Now we need to move where we're going to get our fuel. So our seared fuel tank here has some remnants of lava in it. We'll get rid of that. We'll grab a fresh one. Alright, and let's see, do we have? Yeah, we have 1 piece of glass here. We can plug this hole right there. So now we can get rid of the one with lava. We have the empty one. Let's go ahead and place this guy somewhere where we can manage it. And I would say let's put it symmetrical here in the middle. Let's break this. There we go. That looks like it's the middle right here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I'm going to go up one as well. On the top, what we're going to do is we're going to put the seared duct, like so. Under it, we're going to put the empty fuel tank. Alright. We're going to put a seared faucet on the seared duct. And then right here under the seared faucet, on the seared fuel tank, we have to put one of the seared channels. So the way this guy is going to work is it's going to pour out into the channel, and the channel is going to put it right back into the seared fuel tank. And of course, we have to activate the seared faucet here with a redstone signal. So we'll put that guy here, but before we click that, what we need to do is we need to set this guy. So right-clicking on the duct will let us set what fluid we want. This is the final step. And I know some of you guys are playing on a server, you're not going to be able to turn the game on and off when it comes to difficulty settings. I'm doing this because it's a tutorial. We need to change this guy so that it can start spawning blazes for us. And if the blazes don't spawn like this, the glass shouldn't matter. But in my case, the reason why blazes aren't spawning is because I have an aesthetic choice up top, which is kind of a bummer. I wanted to have smokestacks. And the smokestacks themselves emit light, which is a big bummer. So I have to get rid of all of these dudes that I made. Let's go ahead and break this. Let's see if Silk Touch does give them back. Perfect. So what I'm thinking about doing is capping this thing off and putting the smokestacks on top of the capped off section so that I still get the aesthetic. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and I capped off the ceiling. So now the light from the campfires is not shining on the inside of the smeltery. And I changed my game back to peaceful to do this because I was wrong in my dimensions. It looks like they spawn 3 spaces away from the spawner. So I had one spawn outside of the Tinker Smeltery on me, which I had to slay. But it's good because it gave us a blaze rod. We got some blaze rods. So I pushed everything back another 2 so that there's 3 spaces in between all of them. And as you can see, they're spawning inside, but they're not taking damage. So I made one other mistake. Instead of using the fresh seared fuel tank, we have to have a fully functional smeltery in order to deal damage to the blazes that are inside. So we'll go ahead and use the fuel tank that still had some liquid lava in it, and we'll put our seared channel back on this guy. So now, as you can see, the blazes are spawning and they're taking damage because the lava is keeping it pretty hot inside there with the molten fluids and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this guy keep spawning the blaze spawns until we're completely empty here on lava. And as soon as these guys stop dealing damage, that means this guy is going to be empty, and then we can progress by setting the fluid filter on the seared duct. And that was pretty quick. I ran around the building and it was already out of lava. So we ran out of lava over here. Since there's no fuel inside, the blazes aren't going to be dealt damage anymore. Easy peasy. What we need to do next is we need to put down a bucket. And as long as we have an entire bucket of blazing blood, we have 2 in here, we need to cast one of these guys out onto the bucket in order to make a bucket of blazing blood. There we go. We have our bucket of blazing blood, and this is going to set the filter for us. Let's head back to the back of the unit again. Right over here, I'm going to click inside the seared duct. We're going to put our blazing blood bucket. This tells us the only thing that should cast out of this is blazing blood. So now we can cast this on. And as soon as we have blazing blood, it will automatically cast it out into the seared channel, which will put it back into the fuel tank. Alright guys, I figured it out. This guy, the seared duct, cannot be on the same level as the spawner, because the spawner, since it's physically inside of the smeltery, it deactivates that layer and above. So, simple fix, I ended up mining up the spawner and picking it up higher. So now the seared duct here shows a little black circle, meaning it's good to go. So let's set this guy back up, shoot on the side. We're going to put the seared faucet on the tank. We can put the switch above this. And let's see, I went ahead and I was troubleshooting with a copper can. So you can make these guys as well. It's 3 copper ingots makes copper cans. And you can use this guy to filter the input as well. Then when we turn it on, it'll cast what it has into the tank. So let's turn this guy back on. There we go, they're dealing damage again. And let's make sure that it's casting everything out. We have the filter in place, on, off. Yep, and there we go. It's filling up all the way to the top. And there we go. We have a fully automated Tinker Smeltery when it comes to fuel source now. It'll just keep casting in. As long as we have blazes in there, the smeltery will deal damage to it, turning them into blazing blood, and the filter will cast it out and refill the seared fuel tank. So now we don't have to worry about fuel ever again. And as a little tidbit to finish off this episode, I wanted to show you guys how to turn this into infinite blaze rods. Let's go ahead, let's take one of our blaze rods. I believe we can do it with blaze rods. Put one of these guys down. I already have the ingot of molten gold ready. I'm going to cast this. It will turn this guy into a rod gold cast. That's my pick. And with this, if we put blazing blood on the bottom, and we turn on the switch, of course, to automate it, the guy will pour out the blazing blood, and it'll make us blaze rods. So not only do we have a fully automated Tinker's Smeltery when it comes to fuel, this guy will also make us an infinite supply of blaze rods. And of course, if your mod pack does not have a way to move spawners, go ahead and build your Tinker Smeltery around the spawner at the Nether Fortress. Thank you so much for joining me today. Smash like to keep this series going, and click on my dude here to subscribe for more modded Minecraft. If you want to see the full unedited progress, hit up my Twitch at twitch.tv/ddainicus. I put the link in the description below for you guys.